Welcome back to the new SEC podcast. I am Hunter Ziesman here with Randall Adet Jr. We are talking game of the week. Game day will be there. Biggest game, cross conference, Big Ten, SEC. Michigan Wolverines are going to Norman, Oklahoma to take on the Oklahoma Sooners. Night game, big pressure for the freshman quarterback at Michigan and Bryce Underwood. What do you think in this game at a high level?
At a high level, I love matchups like this. These are the type of matchups that really help determine who makes the playoffs, who deserves a playoff spot, and love to see them early in the season. When I think about this game, you and I, we talked about it. The theme is quarterback play. What can Bryce Underwood do in his second official start in college? And what can Mateer do in this, first big game at this level on an SEC team?
Yeah, in week one, we got to see a couple games that had mismatched quarterbacks from an experience standpoint. A newer quarterback coming into either their first season on a new team that they didn't really have a whole lot of starting experience, to a guy who, albeit on a new team, has playing experience. So we saw Joey Aguilar versus Stephen Jelly, more experienced guy win that game. Ty Simpson-Castellanos, the more experienced guy, transferred from Boston College, won that game. Now, CJ Carr for Notre Dame played well, but Carson Beck, ultimately the experience, won that game. You got a game like this. 5-star freshman looked great last week. I mean, slinging the ball. He's not Joe Milton, but it sure looked like it launching the rock out there. But, in this game, where does the experience between these quarterbacks come into play? And is there an opportunity for one to be more mistake prone?
Yeah, I mean, it's been talked about all season, right? Ben Arbuckle, OC for Oklahoma. John Mateer, I was listening to him on SEC Network. Like, he was basically saying, like, he's not even that impressed with his record-setting performance in this first game. Get it's Illinois State, but like, that's, if you're an Oklahoma fan, that's what you love to hear. When I'm thinking about this game, what you can always expect is Michigan to have a good front line that played a role in their ability to run. They played New Mexico State, so it's an okay competition. But Oklahoma is going to have to really try hard to stop the run. And Michigan's got a new weapon this year in Justice Haynes from Alabama, transfer. Last week he had 159 yards, 2 touchdowns, did some digging into his stats. When they played Oklahoma last year, he had 18 yards. He only had 3 carries. He only had one game last season where he eclipsed over 10 carries. So Michigan's going to run the ball. He had 16 carries last week. He's going to have more carries.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge matchup in this game. And if I'm Oklahoma, I'd rather try to force Bryce Underwood to beat me in the air. Not saying that he can't do it, but the last thing I want to do is let them run all over me. Now, the Oklahoma defense can give quarterbacks fits. Brent Venables' defenses, they're interesting, they're unique. They had experienced quarterbacks last year go in there and make mistakes. Peyton Thorne made mistakes in other games too, made mistakes in that one. Jalen Milroe didn't even know what was going on in that game because of the different looks that Oklahoma can give. And they're going to bring that in this game. It's not going to be New Mexico State. So if you can stop Justice Haynes, if you can stop the rushing attack and force them to make the right reads, force them to beat you in the air, that's where you might see a turnover or two. You might see a young quarterback get rattled and slinging the ball around and making a mistake here and there. Oklahoma, on the other hand, offensively, they're going to have their own troubles. I mean, Michigan defensively, they're going to get pressure behind.
They're going to get pressure in Oklahoma, and I'm sure it's been talked about across all Oklahoma media. They're going to have to really establish the run game. Last week, it was kind of a look, but with Tony Blaylock. Jaden Ott played 1 snap in the fourth quarter when they were already up, but he was also playing kick returner and punt returner. So it's like, is he going to play the whole game? Do we rely on Barnes, or do we rely on Blaylock? Who's going to be the player to establish the run? Because I don't know if it's sustainable to have Mateer be your second leading rusher throughout the season. But if he's going to do what he does in the air, that's great, right? But I think to control the pace of this game, running is going to be critical. I expect Mateer to do what he did well last week. He's going to probably have at least 2 or 3 touchdowns. They unlocked a new weapon with Keontez Lewis. And they're going to, of course, they have Deion Burks and Isa Sategna. So there's a lot there. It's just, who's going to be the runner? Is it going to be Ott? Is he ready to go with that shoulder? He's playing returner. can we get him more involved in the play? The OC spoke this week and really didn't give too much clarity on what the strategy was there and why he played later in the game, but want to see more from him to kind of help balance out the workload in this game, right? I think going forward the rest of the season, play more Mateer, but we need the running game in this one.
Yeah, and I'd like to say that the secrecy is because probably both these teams last week, we saw Michigan playbook light. We saw Oklahoma playbook light. They're not going to let it all loose in that first game, and I think that in this one we're going to see all the tricks come out. Now, if they can't get the running game going, you don't want Mateer to have to do it, but he can though. He can. Yeah. And you run the risk of flushing a quarterback out of the pocket to a bigger problem.
Right.
This Oklahoma O-line had problems last year, yet to be seen this year on how that's really 100% going to look. Michigan gets behind there, you flush him out of the pocket, he could take off. You got to be on it if you're going to play that, that kind of football, putting pressure on him. They're going to have to contain him. I like what Oklahoma can do from a offensive standpoint now. They look strong last week. I think that from the pressure that they have on them, the way that they're going to be composed at a home game at night, I think that they take the edge in this one when we're comparing offenses.
Yeah, I think just with the experience they bring to the table, right? Keontae Lewis has played 4 years of college football. He played for Southern Illinois last year, Wisconsin before that, so he's got Big Ten experience. Burks has played a ton of football, and Technic's played a ton of football. This front seven for Michigan could make it tough, right? You got Damon Payne, defensive line transfer, played really well. You got Brandon Hillman, defensive back, who made some key plays in the backfield last week. And you got TJ Metcalf, who's got SEC experience, right? Played for Arkansas last season. All that to say, it's going to come down to Mateer. I think everyone's going to say that, but I think he is the key to this offensive attack, unless we see more from the rushing attack. And I do give Oklahoma the nudge offensively in this game, just based upon the roster and what I've seen so far this season.
Yeah, and I'm going to give them the way here on defensively as well. I think they're going to be able to bring more pressure uniquely to a quarterback who's going to struggle against it. I'm not basing that off of the game last week against New Mexico State. I'm basing it off of the fact of what this staff has shown to be able to do to quarterbacks. So I take Oklahoma on both sides of the ball in this one. They're 5.5-point favorites here. What's your call on this game?
I mean, my call on this game, they're going to be going in the fourth quarter. They're going to be playing some Toby Keith. I feel like Oklahoma fans are going to be feeling good. And I'm going to say they're going to win this game 21-10. All
right, I got 23-13, Oklahoma winning. We've talked about it. The strength of schedule that Oklahoma has this season ahead of them, this is a huge resume booster to start it. They could find themselves in positions to lose some games and still make the playoffs. But if they win this one, you're starting to look at every game on their schedule, wondering who is the team that would beat them in a surefire win. They can compete with anybody. This is the first test in that before we start level setting the expectations for this team. It's a big one.
It's a huge one, right? And Michigan is probably projected to finish top 3 in the Big Ten. They can't imagine they fall under top 20. They're ranked number 15 now before the rankings come out. So it's a big potential pillar win opportunity with other teams like Texas and South Carolina in the schedule. But we want to know what y'all think here. Do you think Michigan takes this game if you're watching this and you're a Michigan fan or an SEC hater? Or do you think Oklahoma takes this game if you're an Oklahoma fan or you're an SEC supporter? So let us know. And I'm Randall Dett Jr. I got Hunter Eastman here. Until next time.